Good afternoon. I'm Trista Keaton, and you're watching The Source. Today's Source will cover a myriad of stories regarding DePauw housing in light of the donation to the Gold and Bold strategic plan. It is no surprise that a college campus has its kinks in the housing chain, but DePauw students living in residence halls have more than just complaints. DePauw's residence problems begins with Lucy Roland Hall, erected in 1926. In 2021, the women's fourth floor discovered a bat had entered the building through a hole in the attic, a hole that was meant to be filled after calls were made to manage the problem to facilities. However, DePauw's management, with time and resources dedicated to the building standards, the hole was not sealed completely till later in the semester. Another issue in the building comes from a viral TikTok recorded by a student last year. The viral TikTok recorded by Bryn Kelly got 1.2 million views. However, with one of the largest donations DePauw has received, Lori White did not detail specifications to the money being used to fix DePauw's residence halls. However, she said it is a high priority to the board. Here's what President White had to say.
Asked us about what we talked about during the retreat, and talking about the residential experience was one of the sessions, and so we had a chance to look at all of our residential facilities on a map, I would say. So we didn't physically go to them, but we had a chance to see which of our facilities we would say are top of the line, which of our facilities are in that mid-range, and then which of our facilities that we think need marked improvements. And then our next step is now to put together a plan and strategy as to how we are going to improve our residential facilities so that all of our students have the kind of experience that we envision that you all ought to have.
Which buildings specifically are categorized in each of them?
I don't have the map memorized. Happy to provide that to you all.
Buildings can be renovated. Some of them might not. It's better to start from scratch. So we're in that process of sorting through all of that and looking at that, and then prioritizing what happens after that.
What I'd also add is that we all left the retreat overwhelmingly saying that this is a high priority for the university and for the board.
I'll move into the War Room with PAC student and researcher Jake Wood.
Thanks, Trista, and welcome to the War Room. For our first story, a militant organization operating in the Indian-administered state of Manipur celebrated the 20th anniversary of its military wing last Friday, February 16th. The Kangli Yawul Kanalup, or KYKL, honored the armed element of its organization, known as the Myamgi Yawul Lanmi, or People's Revolutionary Army, in a celebration across the group's encampments. KYKL stated that the main event was held at the central headquarters of the organization and featured a speech by the group's chairman, Namoyjam Oken. In the speech, the chairman attributed the problems of the state of Manipur to rule by India and called on the group's fighters to maintain discipline and integrity. KYKL, which was formed in 1994, aims to achieve the independence of Manipur from India. For our next story, Russia's prison service announced last Friday that prominent opposition leader Alexei Navalny had died in prison. Navalny, the former leader of the opposition Russia of the Future Party and a prominent opponent of Vladimir Putin, was serving a 30-year jail sentence for a number of charges which many say were fabricated for political purposes. He had previously, in 2020, suffered from a poisoning incident which he had blamed the Putin government for, leading many, including his wife, to question the news. Russia was not released information relating to the cause of Navalny's death, driving further suspicion of foul play given his role as one of the most influential opponents to Putin. Even U.S. President Joe Biden considers the death to be at the hands of the Russian government, stating, quote, "There is no doubt that the death of Navalny was the consequence of something that Putin and his thugs did." This development comes ahead of elections that are scheduled to take place in mid-March. That's all for the War Room, and be sure to follow us on social media platforms at D3TV to stay updated on the real news.